Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, we are talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. Where is she? Still wondering where. Do they know more than they're saying? I think so, but a lot of people have doubts. A lot to talk about on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace. Smile through pain with a painted face. They call me too loud, too much, too strong. But honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my pain, but I'll rise again. Just watch me judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
And they clutch, better tighten the pearls. Drop the cold facts, got the truth for the world. No smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten the pearls. Dropping cold facts, got the truth for the world. No smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options anywhere on the internet, anywhere in thy world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is March 9th, 2026. It is currently 8:09 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Bonjour. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Tonight we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. And Dang, she is still missing. Quite a few theories out there. Law enforcement being pretty tight-lipped about all of this, and still nothing. Still nothing. It makes me wonder if she's truly right under our eyes, or was this planned so well that investigators are having a hard time, or if they already know, but they are tightening the ends up. Now, how many days are we? We're at 30, 37, 37 days, something like that. I have a real problem with no one out actually searching. Interesting, says Connie. Thank you so much, Miss Connie. Good to see you all. Sherry, Susan, Robert, Robin, Shari, Susan, Pam, Leslie, always keeping it real. Lori, peace. Good to see you all. Thank you so much, Hamitude, my friend, 3 months coming in. Good evening, Justin, Mads, and Pearls. Thank you so much, my friend. Really do appreciate you. We just did a live. It was kind of a serious live, so we're trying to shake some, really heavy live we just had just a minute ago, but now we're moving on with the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, think about this, y'all. You guys remember the imposter? Man accused of writing imposter ransom note in Nancy Guthrie case. He was released from custody. And this
Just take a little bit.
is just when this is just sorry, this is not the one I was wanting to show you. He was back in the news. He was actually back in the news. I was going
Just take a little bit. No.
1 second. Wrong one. Wrong one. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go now. They're talking about this. Hold on. What's that? I rewatched the press conference and looked through news. Hold on, let me show you this real quick before we get onto our big stuff. Guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up button wherever you are. Greatly appreciated. I rewatched the press conference and looked through news reports. There is no legit source that ever reported it was actually taken, only disconnected. Nanos even said at the second press conference, the police sent the camera off. The suspect taking the camera seems like a rumor that someone started because it was gone by the time the media arrived, or they assumed disconnected meant physically removed, and everyone just accepted it as factual. Now, if I recall correctly, they said that didn't he smash it? In his band, Annie, the guy that text both of them about Bitcoin. Yeah. Yep. Peace of all Jesus. Peace of Jesus to all. Um, Listen, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna blame anybody. I'm not gonna blame anybody, but what I will say is there's a lot of weirdness, and that I just cannot get over. We're gonna go to something I want to show you from our we'll go to Chris McDonough first from the interview room. He had John Lamb, Bob Gillum, of course, himself, and Dr. Gary Picardo on last night. I want to show you something, and then we're going to get to Ashley Banfield with something because I got some comments I want to show you on this real quick.
Right.
Gary?
Well, but I think it's important for us not to forget how puzzling the communications were between the guy in Hawthorne and family members, that I have still not been satisfied about why it appears that there was some there that the communication that's in the affidavit is
Nothing about it
suggestive
makes
of
sense.
prior communication. It references some financial arrangement that isn't referenced anywhere else in the messages. Now, that is not meant to cast aspersions. It's just one of those things that
Listen to
you
this.
sort of dog ear and you go like, that doesn't make sense. And I think we've all agreed that that guy, I think Derek, is that his name? Derek Kalela, something like
Colella or something. Yeah.
that just doesn't make sense. And I am not thrilled about not being able to put that to rest. It's weird to me. The other thing is,
Now, I want to do a members only live about that because I have again I agree with Dr. Gary 100% on this. Again, he's not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming nobody's blaming anybody but there is some very weird things about this guy. Very weird things about this guy. And what's even more sus about this guy is some ones in his family that I found not months ago, but weeks ago. Hold on. Daphne and I showed Daphne and she was like, oh my God, that's very weird. There is something, and someone in his family was right in the area of Nancy Guthrie area. When I say that, how do I say it? They were in Tucson when Nancy Guthrie went missing, the time when they're not normally in Tucson. And this is the only guy that ever called Tommaso and Annie. I agree. It's the craziest thing, Sheila, because nothing about this makes any sense, right? It doesn't matter which way you really go, and probably because we don't know everything. But I agree with
with regard to comparing to other cases, I have found that the cases that are out there, they mostly have to do with group enterprise things like mafia, kidnaps, things like that, cartels and all that. But I don't think that that's what went on here. What it looks like is that it is true. I think we all agree there is some group of people, not just one solo person. It does appear that way with different psychologies and intelligence levels and all that. But what it looks like is that whoever is, as I've called the waiter, whoever's doing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, put if you believe there is more than one person, put a yes in the chat. If you believe that there is not more than one person, put a no in the chat. And you are free to believe whichever way. But I just don't see how, and I don't believe that this is a one-man band at all, personally. Now, if you differ, I would love to hear why. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of connections in this case. Well, I do too, because you got to think about how this is, what's the word I'm looking for? There's $1.2 million on the line. 1.2, right? $1,200,000 that if anyone had an inclination that, in my opinion, that wasn't involved, they would have been thrown right under the bus in 2 seconds. Right? Who dat? Who dat? I, who dat? Who dat? Remember that song? Who dat? Appreciate you, my dear. Yeah. Appreciate you, love. Good to see you. Who dat? Who dat? IGGY. Iggy Azalea sing that. Wishing you could clutch that. Thank you so much, Judah. Appreciate you. And Hope, how are you doing, darling? Thank you so much. Welcome to the Pearl family. Really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Masked man looked too calm, bow-legged. His right ear looked popped out. Wonder if whomever sells those radio blockers can check if anyone from Arizona purchased one. Oh, thank you for reminding me about that, Trish, because I have a photo that I wanted to show you guys about something like that. Someone made a really interesting, showed a photo of something, and I wanted to show you guys that. Masked person was playing around calmly, very odd. This is the confusing part that I have about this masked person, right? Some people, I was thinking, I'm not sure if this is the actual, like, I think whoever did this, in my opinion, or whom's ever did this, is likely sourced out. Just the feeling I get, right? Because I was thinking, well, if there was, I thought this masked person might have came from the front. Well, he did come from the front, but and then we see him without his GUN, right? And his backpack and all that. And if that is the truth, then we have to think about if this was the all in one day. If it was all in one day, then which it can't be the same day. It just can't be the same day. The lighting's different. All of this is different. And if that is the truth, then where's these other mofos at? Where are they at? Why aren't they releasing more video? And if they went through the front door first, right? When do you guys think that this person, when he's ripping out the camera and stuff, is he doing this first or is he doing this at the very end? You know what I mean? Oh my God. Thank you so much, Judith. That's very generous, my darling. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, darling. I love you so much for your support, my love. Good to see you. And you're very generous. I do love you and appreciate you, my love. They seized his car, but he can leave the country. Well, no, he didn't leave the country. And this is the thing. This is the thing. I'm assuming you're talking about Tommaso. I don't think it was him, but I'm just saying, and it goes to show you how the police are so corrupt. See, I mean, a lot of people were saying, well, Tommaso's in Italy and stuff. And like I've told you guys, I've seen people say that he was in Italy, but he was just outside the other day, right? He was just out there the other day. So I don't think he was ever in Italy, recently or anything like that. But if you're not a suspect, they can't really do any, you can't do anything.
The service of the idea. There does seem to be some mimicking
Show you something.
of things that come from, cartels or mafiosi or things like that. With this attempt at abduction. Wouldn't you say it looks almost like somebody watched too many TV shows where there was that kind of abduction, and tried to learn about how criminals operate? And I mean, don't you guys think? What do you guys think about that? That there's some mimicking.
John?
Yeah,
I agree. There's a component to this that strikes me as almost theatric. And having dealt with the criminals that we mostly dealt with, we seldom saw crimes of this variety, this sort of, I won't call it staging, but there's an artificial component to it. So I agree with you, Gary.
Handed and it looks a little over the top. And
yes, and I think it's almost as if the people involved in this imagine themselves to be a brain trust, and that they have tried to come up with various ways to confound the police. And I mean, in fairness to them, they have gotten away with it thus far.
Right.
Yeah. So the next piece, sir.
Now, I will be, if there is not an arrest in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to be gobsmacked. We're going to come back to this in just a second, but this was actually what I was wanting to show you guys first.
That's still useful to you guys. So how does that work?
Just a second, hold on.
When your device is in airplane mode, things that he prepped
We
for,
kind of talked about this the other day, but
his digital
I've got
footprint.
some new points I want to make on this.
The fact that right before the murder, his phone was turned off, and then within like 40 minutes or so after, it was turned back on.
Talking about
kind of
Coburger.
gave us that
They
tunnel
worked on. She worked on
look
Coburger.
down here. This is why you're not seeing anything.
In this case,
Now, I'm going to be shocked if, like, whoever did this is, if they messed up the internet on that block around this time frame. Because, yeah, there's Wi-Fi jammers and all of this, but that is a level of sophistication that most people don't think about, don't go to extraordinarily lengths to get to as well either. Clutch absolutely is sticking his neck out on these stories. He gives us the real. Oh, thank you so much, my love. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate you very, very much.
In particular, we have not heard anything, and by this case, I mean the Nancy Guthrie case. We have not heard anything came of the cell tower dump, of any digital forensics. But with the Coburger case in mind, what kind of stuff are they looking for, and what kind of stuff might they find that could help them here?
A few things that immediately come to mind, especially when I think back of what Jared and I looked at for Idaho.
This is so interesting.
First and foremost, pattern of behavior is huge. And why his phone being off in those hours was so damning against him. One, he was awake. He manually, it was a user requested power off. The logs show the truth of all this. His phone was at 100%. And then it pinged a tower when he turned it back on, which put him in Idaho and not in Washington, where he lived. So all of that was a beautiful painted picture. For Nancy Guthrie, I have heard people make claims that even when a phone is turned off, it still pings towers, which is not true.
That's interesting, Sassy.
So
I'll show that.
If the FBI and investigators got cell phone pings, which we've all read and heard that they did, they're obviously looking for pattern of behavior. What is normal? What was in that area during the time when Nancy was kidnapped? All of those things come to play. Now, if the person prepped, they wouldn't ping that tower. But if they went ahead of time and scoped it out or planned, they would have.
Okay, so what she means by that, like, clearly this person is prepped, right? Clearly this person is prepped. There's different levels of preparation when you're committing a crime, though. There's thinking it through and having a kit, right? i.e. whatever is in his backpack. That is a level of preparation. And if we are to, again, assume that these photos of this individual these videos that we have are from 2 different times, right? If they are from 2 different times, did this person have his phone on the first time? My opinion would be no. That's my opinion on that. My opinion would be no, because if he prepped the first time, he didn't have his backpack, but would have been scouting out, looking around. He didn't come with the backpack allegedly that day, if it is from 2 different times. If he's got his mask on, well, that clearly says he is not wanting his face seen, which therefore he would likely have his phone off the first time he was there as well, right? I bet they have those vids too. Damn, I wish they would release some more. That would be real good.
And then you can also look for entry and exit and then proximity pings, because eventually you're going to turn your phone back on.
Yes.
So that is one thing with the pings. The other thing is people make mistakes. Did they really turn it off? Was their device only in airplane mode? How did they know where they were going? So thinking of different settings on the device will really help when a suspect comes into mind. And when they actually have a phone of a suspect, I hope that they call me. I want to help, and I want to say, look here, look here, look here, because the loudest evidence can be the lack of evidence.
Sometimes it is the absolute, what they're not saying or they're not doing is the most suspicious, right? Because we are people of patterns.
So, it's interesting about the airplane mode thing. Like, we don't know who the guy is yet, or even if it's just one person. And we don't know the situation of their phones. But if they were carrying a phone and it's in airplane mode, that's still useful to you guys. So how does that work?
When your device is in airplane mode, here's a good example. I created a CTF for Celebrate, and I put my device in airplane mode when I fly because we're supposed to, and I try to follow the rules. But when I dumped my device looking for data to compare to Brian Koberger's Android, I saw that my device updated in Denver. So even though it was in airplane mode,
it depends. This is a good question, Bad to the Bone. They have video of the masked guy that they can. Why can't they not pull the video the same way to see Nancy arriving back home? That was, they may be able to, and I'm sure that the longer it's taken, the more that they're able to get back. This was allegedly done privately with data that was they was still able to get. So I'm sure that the longer it goes on, the more that they'll be able to connect back. And I agree. This is the thing. Like, we're at 30 some days. In my opinion, after all of this speculation that is going on through so many different people, including the media, why are you not clearing, like, without a doubt, like, clearing certain people by now, right? Like, 100% without a doubt, don't look towards this person, that person, these people at all. Not they're cleared for now things. right?
It's still new when I was hitting time zone changes. It's still pinging towers. It is still reaching out for a signal. It's not fully shut down. With Brian Koberger, he disabled cellular, disabled Wi-Fi, and turned off his phone. That is
the rest of it,
extreme measures to not have a digital footprint. So he really took all the steps, but still made a mistake. So we hope in Nancy Guthrie that whoever has her made a mistake and that we can uncover that footprint.
Now, we know that they looked at the cell tower data, and that's going to be different from the stuff you guys look at. So, like, you're not going to see anything until they actually have a suspect and look at their phone. But what kind of clues in the cell tower data could lead them to someone so you would have a chance to check on a phone? I mean,
oh yeah, that's a fantastic question.
All the
and
above.
Back to Idaho again.
Words.
Jared and I dealt directly with the FBI CAS team, and they're the ones that get the cell towers and they find the gaps. And without them, we probably wouldn't have stumbled upon the log file that we did when they told us, hey, there was a dark period.
Yes, Kaya. I'm old school 56 and only got a personal mobile phone during the C19 and forget to take it half the time. Do most people carry it around 24/7? Yes. Yes. The only time I've been without my phone in decades was either I was in surgery or it broke for a little bit until I could get to my cell phone dealer. So yeah, most people, it's with them 24/7. Yes.
Where he wasn't pinging anything during this time. It's kind of weird. So the communication is key. If investigators aren't talking, forensics isn't going to make sense. You need everyone involved to paint the entire picture because there's so many different specialties. Typically when these pings come in, they will say, okay, this many devices were in this area at this time. Also think about the time of night when that is. In her neighborhood, I have a friend that lives close by. She went there and she said one cell service is terrible in that area, which isn't great, but you still will likely ping towers.
You will.
It's also very dark. It seems like it's an older generation that typically lives in there, so they're mostly asleep. So
I mean, this is, I mean, it's big lots, that where there's, of course, houses in the area and all that. But this, people move to this area, generally middle, elderly. There's not a lot of cars going in and out of this place at 2:00 in the morning. In fact, I would be shocked if there was probably a car an hour going down this road at 2:00 in the, during that time frame. So it seems like they've had, and the reporting is that they've had really hard time trying to find a vehicle. So they're really, it's very confusing, very confusing. But we're going to get to this box that may have been damaged, that it seems like there's a light drip in this case, but it's very delayed.
assume there's not going to be a huge, like hundreds of thousands of phones. So once they have that, they can contact the network service providers and track back to actual individuals.
And they're going to be, if everybody's asleep, they're going to be the phones that are moving, right? So they can narrow it down even more. There's two other devices
also
involved in this
let me tell you this. Let me tell you guys this. Okay, so let's think about this a second. Let's think about this. Let's say there is two people doing this crime, taking Nancy out that night, right? And let's say both of them have their phones off. right? They are very likely to perhaps turn their phones on at the same time whenever they are out of that area, right? Or not only that, but before all of this happened, whether it was hours, minutes, days, weeks, months, they probably have had a conversation with someone about a situation, right? Whether that is someone who had a grievance with Nancy, if they are, again, if it's assuming this is a hired job, right? Or at least, for instance, if this is, someone that knows Nancy, they might have spoke to Nancy. There could have been a conversation of where they were irritated with Nancy, whether that's, they've spoken to her or they have text with her or text someone about her, right? It's gotta be something like that. Bad to the bone. Thank you so much, my love. Appreciate you. Welcome to the Pearl family. Welcome back to the phone. Up in here, up in here. Thank you so much, Bad to the Bone. Hey, Miss Dolores. Good to see you, Mama. Appreciate you. I've been a member for 2 months. How you doing, Miss Dolores? Thank you so much, and thank you for gifting that pearl necklace. Really, really do appreciate you, Mamacita. Hopefully you're doing well. If you received that, make sure you thank our Mama, Miss Dolores.
Right. That's the Nest camera
Hey, Hobo.
that was taken off of her front porch, which presumably the Wi-Fi was on, and Nancy's pacemaker, which they sent the Bluetooth sniffer device to fly around and try to find it.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
He
with no luck.
wore
But with those two devices, one is Bluetooth, one is Wi-Fi.
Kinsey.
Are there any clues that as they were taken from the scene, that they could have provided for investigators?
If we had a suspect to consider, it is likely that their phone will ping and almost have an acknowledgement. That's a good word for
I
it.
call
An
it a
acknowledgement
handshake.
of Nancy's home Wi-Fi, potentially even her Bluetooth. So I have no idea with the technology. I assume the Bluetooth of her pacemaker is set strictly for her device. And that's why Dave Kennedy released his research saying, hey,
I mean, this is the thing. If you think about it, this, let's say 2 people were in a vehicle and they had this planned out at a certain time, at a certain date, right? That they were going to do this to Nancy. And they were driving together on their way before 2 a.m. to Nancy's house. At some point, they most likely on their way there, they're going to turn off their phones, probably close to the same time, or most likely at this close to the same time, I would say. So they're going to check stores around there, which we know that they have. And I'm sure that they're looking at most likely phones that went on around the same time, went off around the same time as well with that device. I can't imagine them not having a person by now of at least of interest. But we haven't seen them knock down anybody's doors in a minute, right? Hobo, good to see you, man. At 14 months, have missed you all. Thank you guys for love you, darling. Good to see you, Miss Hobo. Hopefully you and yours are doing well. Thank you so much for your continued support. Really, really do appreciate you, Miss Hobo. Good to see you. Thank you so much again, Mr. Lewis. Appreciate you very much, darling. Very kind to me, Mr. Lewis. I appreciate you very much. What was the purpose behind this? There can only be really a very small things, and in my opinion, and it's got to be financial gain. See, someone has to, for you to be unalived, for someone to be unalived, right? There has to be a gain. What will this person gain? Will they gain financial, right? Will they gain not being told, like being outed about something, um, a scheme, you know, something that they were doing wrong, or who benefits, right? Who benefits? That's the main thing. No bad to the bone, baby.
He knows it's going to be pinging and beaconing out every minute for so many seconds. But I assume it's not going to reach out to other people's devices, but it could. So that's another way that could be linked to the person. But I think the Wi-Fi is huge. So if you come into my house right now, Michael, you will see my home Wi-Fi. Whether you're trying to connect to it or not, your phone knows that it exists just in case you want to connect.
Okay. So if you look at your phone right now, right? If you look at your phone right now, if you're not on it, and you go to your Wi-Fi, right? I go to my connections, I go to my Wi-Fi, and you turn on the little scanny thing. Or 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 Wi-Fis that my phone is picking up right now. 6. Right? Some I have no idea whose they are, what they are at all. Right? And if you walk down the road, let's see here, and just like the Bluetooth, and if you see like one jumping up and down, and it's there, it's gone. Well, it's probably that network in your vicinity. I think Revenge and his husband needed money.
So that could be the biggest thing is this, the guy took the Nest cam. We think he took the Nest camera. It's not there anymore, right? So
Yep. And so even Delphi, go back to like Delphi murders. That was one of the things that I recommended to the FBI is what if the person of interest who
It's
killed
interesting.
Libby and Abby actually pinged one of their devices. Like what if their device saw it? And it could be called bad guy's iPhone, but it could be called Michael Ruiz's iPhone, like you don't know. Most people call their phone something normal unless you're my husband and you call your phone a glass of bourbon. He's an icon, which is crazy, but we would know it was Jared Barnhart if we saw that bourbon. So one thing I didn't hear a lot of is any feedback on license plate readers. We know there's no way with her mobility issues that she was on foot, like traveling into the woods like Elizabeth Smart or something. No way.
I mean, I can't imagine just the area in general, right? Even like where the gas stations are right outside of her neighborhood. I can't imagine there being even a lot of cars at 2:00 in the morning. Right? I mean, think about that. It's Tucson, but it's not like down Tucson. Oh, wait, wrong one. Okay. Now get to this, guys. Listen to this. police are looking into damaged utility box near Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home. Listen to this.
This morning in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, law enforcement says they are looking into new evidence near her home in Tucson, Arizona. Authorities say they are looking into a damaged utility box near the home. Investigators say the equipment could be connected to a reported internet outage in the area around the time she vanished. The outage may have disrupted nearby surveillance systems, potentially affecting video evidence that could have helped track down the suspect. Authorities say they are close to a breakthrough, but much of the evidence remains confidential. Nancy Guthrie was reported missing more than a month ago. The family is offering a $1 million reward for information leading to her recovery.
Okay, so what do you guys think about this? Let me show you what they're talking about here when they say the damaged part here. Let me show you. It's like one of those like green utility boxes. Y'all know what I'm talking about? One of those was supposedly damaged. Oh, I forgot to show y'all this as well. Let me show you this before we get to our other thing here. So someone did like an exposure thing here. Look at this. I'm going to make my screen as big as possible so you can see this. Watch this. This is, I guess, the ring thing that they think that. And let me just show you. Watch this. Some people think that there's like this ring or something that they were wearing. I don't know. Does that look like hold on, let me do it like this. Does that look like a ring to you? What ring would that be? That would be, would that be the pinky ring? Would that be the pinky ring? I don't know. I don't know. It's just some people say, well, that's a pinky ring. I thought that would be easy with sparse population, not much traffic. That time of day, the cell phone and the traffic data has been really disappointing. Does seem kind of that way, but damn, they've got to know something more. Now, we were talking, we know that one of these neighbors' cameras, they were allegedly out of commission that around the time Nancy went missing. This is new reporting that's came out in the last few days that and what's really odd about these specific cameras that are being talked about, it's the only two cameras, these two right here, the only two cameras that are looking toward the Guthrie home. Again, you can tell these are much older Ring cameras, much older. They are wired. They've been there a while. You can tell this is either internet cable or some television cable right here, but this is the cord to it. And it's the only two cameras that is pointing toward the Guthrie home. Okay. Again, it's much more difficult to block lines that is, that if it's like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi cameras, it's much easier to do. Why not just cut the cable Yeah, but if you're wanting to do it all in one jump, I mean, the thing. Listen to this, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, see you. Good to see you.
I want to talk about cameras and how important they are in the Nancy Guthrie case, and I wanted to give a full overview of the various different types of camera that could have recorded any type of evidence and how long that evidence actually lasts. So I am here at the intersection of Skyline and Campbell Drive, and as you can see, there are cameras located right there. There are cameras located on that section as well, and then see them on all of the four corners of the intersection. Now, these cameras, while they look like they would appear useful, a majority of the time, these cameras do not record. They are live feeds only. Here is a business that is located on the northwest corner of Campbell Avenue and Skyline Drive. This business does actually have cameras. What's important to know on those cameras is that they are more than likely part of a CCTV, which records on a closed circuit onto a DVR system. That DVR system is generally re-recorded over after a specific amount of time once the storage is full. Most businesses, it's about 7 to 14 days. Gas stations are usually about 14 days. Larger companies can go up to 30 days. You have casinos, certain businesses that will store it for up to 180 days. But those are a very small amount of businesses that actually do that. Other types of cameras that are useful would be rideshare drivers, food deliveries like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and then also Amazon delivery. UPS usually has them on their vehicles as well. With it now being over 30 days since she has been missing, we have to take into account that a lot of these video cameras that would store information in larger businesses is going to be re-recorded over.
Yeah, some of them are for sure, but most Ubers have like some sort of a lot of. Don't they all? Do they all have cameras in them? The Ubers nowadays. So they're going to look at Nancy's. If she was in that Uber, she allegedly was before she went. If she was having any phone conversations with anyone on her cell phone, how her demeanor was, how her behavior, if she seemed upset or anything like that, which is very interesting as well. Hey, Kaya, good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the Pearl family. Really do appreciate you. Welcome, Kaya, to the Pearl family. Oh, I'm sorry, Summer Breeze. I hope you feel better. You feel better, darling.
Already, so that database is probably not going to be beneficial or useful. Interestingly enough, when we're referring to Nest camera video footage and Ring camera, those types of systems, it is stored on a cloud, and that information is actually easier accessible, which is so interesting because you would think that it wouldn't be, but it actually is. And that's why right now where we are at in this investigation and the talk
what an
about
honor.
the
Thank
suspect
you.
possibly using a signal jammer in the neighborhood, and neighbors are coming forward saying that they did have some interruption with their camera systems on the day and around the time that she was kidnapped from her home. Video footage that anybody else has is so important because it may be a lot of the only footage that is available that could still be used in this investigation. I wanted to kind of talk about this as a whole just because it shows how important it is that any video footage that can be obtained and how important it is that everybody should check their cameras around that time of night in like that 2-hour window. You never know what information that you could have. So I urge everybody to check your cameras again, and any information that you do have, submit it into the FBI. You can contact Payment County Sheriff's Department. You can do this anonymously. It just shows how critical one person can be to break through this case.
Whoops. And it one person can really change things up very, very quickly. I'm going to go to Mr. Inton now on something right here. I want you to look at that. These two are amazing.
Jim, do you think that's something we should be considering in this case?
Absolutely. I think every single person who had even a tangential relationship to Nancy Guthrie, anybody who worked on the house, on the yard, on the pool, anybody who worked in the house, repairing things, delivering things, even driving her in an Uber or Lyft. All of those people should be looked at, because that could have been the nexus that allowed them to understand that she was living alone and that she was vulnerable.
Maureen, you agree?
I do agree. And I also think that from what we know about Nancy, she was just such a nice and kind and wonderful woman. And I've got a neighbor here that I just love like a second mom. She too is 84. And ever since this whole thing kicked off, you know, I'm on her like white on rice. And I just want her to be 10 times more careful about everything. But the bottom line is they tell everyone.
Did, you know, a lot of us have elderly neighbors. There's a very elderly man that lives close to me. I check on him a lot. In fact, I mow his grass a lot of times during the spring and summertime. He's an older guy. He's never been married. He's lives by himself, you know, and so we check on those people regularly, sometimes daily. Some people, was there any neighbors that had a really close relationship with Nancy? Did they check on her daily? Did they bring her meals daily? Did they help her carry her groceries in or do anything like that? You know, I think, in my opinion, if this is not family, which again, we have no idea. The sheriff says that they're cleared. FBI hasn't said anything. But if it's not family related, I would go toward someone like that, most likely. Meaning, like, if you know, they borrowed money or and said that they were going to give it back, or said, you know, you're not paying me, I'm going to go to the police. But again, the problem with that is, why have they continually gone back to Tommaso's house? It's a problem for me.
Anything someone asks them. If someone asked her, walked up to her door and said, "Can I come in and use your restroom?" A stranger, she would say yes. You know, I think when you get old, you get one of two ways: either really ornery, like I'm probably going to be, or like Nancy or my neighbor Marcia here.
Gonna be.
Yeah.
I may have a head start on it a little bit. Yeah, it's all right, Jay.
Yeah, and even though, you know, they've made such a point to say that Nancy was cognitively totally with it, and she had some physical ailments, but still, like, even with, I think about my grandparents when they were older, they were still cognitively with it, but sometimes they can just fall victim for things more easily.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at just what we're having to deal with today in terms of AI sort of takes over. You can create any image, you can take a picture and you can make it into a video saying anything, and it looks very realistic. Those things are going to get better, and they're going to be used to trick people and to make people more vulnerable.
That's scary.
The generation before us had to deal with the internet coming out and dealing with, remember in the beginning of email, where all those sort of email spam lists, and then fraud came through that, and spamware and all sorts of stuff that people had to learn to deal with. Well, as you get older, it's harder to learn.
Mary, when you did Who's Landscaping, she was so sweet she didn't hesitate to invite me in and cool off. Do you mean Miss Guthrie? Do you know Miss Guthrie? Is that who you mean, or someone else?
New tricks. It's harder to keep up with all those changes and all the ways in which people can take advantage of you. So many elderly people are getting calls from their bank, or calls from Social Security, or calls from the IRS, and they think, oh my, I have to take care of this.
Okay, so you know Nancy? You've met Nancy before? Is that who you mean?
Unfortunately, they're just being scammed. And there are people who take it further, who don't.
But that was 20 years ago. I mean, you know, this is the thing. Like, if I've had like people working at my house, like outside, like cutting trees or something like that. And I mean, I've invited them in, and given them something to drink or whatever, and I don't know. I guess you just never know. But I also had a guy working for me at a place one time, and he ended up stealing from me. So it's, you just never know. You just never know.
Just want to scam older people. They want to take advantage of them in a number of other ways. And it's disgusting because they are so vulnerable, and there's no way to protect them unless you're with them 24/7.
Yeah. And I think I've seen in a lot of the comments, even in my videos, it's something that people struggle with.
Interesting, isn't it?
You want to give your parents their independence still. And I'm sure maybe this is what the Guthries are going through too, She probably wanted to stay in her house. She's 84, but then you probably worry a lot too, as people come and go. Maureen, and the other thing is with when you have, and I don't know if Nancy had home health care, but she had mobility issues. It doesn't seem like she was driving because she took the Uber, but you have sometimes different people coming in and out, or someone will call in sick and the agency will send someone different.
The number one abuse for elder abuse is financial scams. That's the number one abuse for elderly. Number one, right?
That kind of thing. Do you think, Maureen, it'll be hard to, will the FBI be able to track everyone who was in and out of the house?
Yep, they will.
Or they don't have
But before we
anything.
get there, let's slow down a little bit, because I think the reason she wasn't driving at night is probably because she doesn't drive in the dark. And she's a very independent woman. Much like Savannah, our father died when I was the same age Savannah was when her dad died. And our mom became the mom and the dad. That makes you a very independent person. You all of a sudden have to do everything that you did as a couple, as well as parent children, which is obviously very hard, especially teenagers. And so she's an independent woman that wants to remain independent. And that's how I want to be. I don't.
Now, we also, one thing I have not heard about this, we don't know someone's health or any, like their medication or anything like that. But one thing I've really wondered, because obviously there is a rug epidemic in our society, and they said Nancy was in poor health, that she was in constant pain as well. I've wondered, could she have gotten prescription medications? They do say that they don't believe that they took anything of value, but do you think that would have counted? Someone who, for instance, a neighbor or something who knew, like a guy who knew she got pain medication or picked up her prescription before or whatever. Could it be something like that? I see a picture of a drunk guy on your post. This guy right here, you think he's drunk? The slightest bump will cause you to bleed under skin. Yes. I've actually, one of my subscribers the other day, her and her husband was outside, and she accidentally bumped him, and he's got thin skin, very much like Nancy. And I'll show you a picture. And it bumped his hand, and his hand was close to the ground. It was just kind of down like that. I think his hand was about, I'll look at the message she sent me, but it was like 3 feet from the ground, and it looks very similar to Nancy's blood. I want to show you guys here in a second. It's kind of interesting. Someone wrote just a few minutes ago, I've been trying to definitively determine whether or not the FBI video of the porch suspect and the photo with no timestamp of the man with no backpack were captured on the same night. In the video where the porch guy grabbed the plant material, there is a smaller leaf near the planter that disappears from view, leaving a black spot near the planter where the leaf was. If the photo with the man standing was, oh crap, 1 second, where the man standing with no backpack has the same missing, or the leaf missing in his photo, that would be proof that his photo was captured on the same night as the video. If the leaf there in the photo with the man with no backpack, that would prove that this was taken before the night, because the leaf hadn't been picked yet by the porch guy. I'm going to show you what he means here in a second. I think the photos and the video below demonstrate that the video and the photo were both taken the night Nancy went missing, they say. Now, look at this. I'm going to make it big because this is a very interesting to see here. Let me show you what they mean. Okay, so this is before. This is from the video, and look at this leaf. I'm assuming it's a leaf. They're saying, right there. Okay, and then this is after from video. It doesn't appear that there is a leaf there. No leaf. What are your thoughts on this? No leaf with the guy there. Now look at the leaf there. See the difference? Because this has been really bothering me. Is it the same night or is it not? Or is that just a glare? Nobody's getting mad at you, baby. In my opinion, he has definitely been there more than once. In my opinion, it's same night when he went back to grab the camera after disabling the floodlights. But you see how it kind of goes? Like, all right, you see this right there? And when he moves, watch this. You can see like this is actually, it's a leaf, or it's part of the plant. He pulls it up. See, it's actually not a leaf on the flower pot. It's the leaves. It's the flower standing up, and this is the backdrop, if you will. So you can see the flowers better because of this dark backdrop. It's not on the flower pot. It's just a backdrop where this is lighter. You get what I mean? So watch it how it moves. This is the flower, and he's getting ready to rip it up. and it moves over here, or it looks like. I think this person thinks that you get what I mean? I do believe he pulled up the plant and touched the top of his other hand and the gesture to another person. And there was, I don't think there was another person like right there. I know a lot of people think like there's a person behind him and stuff. You would have to know your footing around there with all those cacti. Now, okay. Let me go back here. Okay, this is before. And there's plants like sticking out. Before. After. Maybe I need to go to the regular videos, I think is what I need to do. Let's go to those regular. Let me go to X. Let's see here. Nancy Guthrie suspect video. Let's see both of those. And then we can check. Okay. This is the night with the backpack and stuff. I want to make it as big as possible. I want to see if there is. Let's see. This is the night with the GUN and the backpack. Let me see if he's got a ring on. See, I don't think he's got a. I don't know. Look at. Is that a. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. That's interesting, but I don't know if that's part of it or not. Okay. And you can see him rip it there. And then let's go to creep. It's the weirdest thing. It's just the absolute weirdest thing. And then we need to see him without the backpack. Okay. It's really hard to determine. But it looks like, I mean, I think you can still see some flowers there, but it doesn't look like, it does look like, it's so damn confusing because they are, one is way darker than the other. But here, you don't see, you see a couple flowers, but you don't see it pressed against it like it was either. What was he looking as he leans toward the side as he's going up into the cement step up? Yeah, there's a little step up. There's a little step up. He looks down to check light is working with his mouthpiece, in my opinion. See, I don't think so, Becky. I don't see it. This guy seems to be younger, in my opinion. Oops, 1 second. Okay. Check this out. Let me show you this. Okay. If you are squeamish to blood, you might not want to see this, but I'm going to show you something. If you're squeamish to blood, because I'm going to show you two different things here. Guys, if you're just joining us, make sure you please hit that thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate you. So, one of my subs sent this, and this happened very similar. She accidentally like bumped her husband or something on the porch, and when she did that, she's like, oh God, she's been following this case a lot. And so again, I'm going to give you a warning. If you are sensitive to these kinds of things, this might not be for you. You're going to see blood here. This is the Nancy Guthrie blood that we know. Okay. Okay, it was ICU and her husband, so I didn't want to say your name. So how far was it ICU when this happened? Okay, so you see that. Let me do a side by side. That would be better, actually. Look at this. I can do a side by side, actually, because this will work better. And we've been thinking that it could be aspiration, but it actually may not be. Check this out. This is on blood thinner and stuff as well. All right, so this is Nancy's, right? And then this is subscriber, right? Now, he was about, what was it? When it fell, it was about like 3 feet from the ground. Now, if you see the edges here, the edges are not perfectly round, which is important, but you can see us also other smaller drops. I'm assuming these are like smaller drops. Maybe maybe it's part of the tile, because then I look up here as well. But this looks like, I think, to me, this looks like it came from the nose or the face somewhere. To me, it looks like a nosebleed on top of his hand, and it dripped about 3 foot. I think she got hit in the face, in my opinion. Yeah, to me, because where Nancy's is, you see this right here. It's there's drops and stuff, but it's whatever it is, it was over top that area longer than it was anywhere else, right? Because there's more concentration on that part. In my opinion, I believe when they took her out of the house, she might have like scraped her leg. In my opinion, I also believe they took her to the hospital. Oh, I don't think they took her to the hospital. I mean, I would be very, very, very surprised if they took her to the hospital. Just my opinion. Okay. All right. So let me show you this right here. I'm going to go back to the interview room on something.
Helicopter that is not used for patrol work. They rely on Tucson PD when they need a patrol helicopter. So that helicopter that belongs to Pima County is predominantly used for search and rescue work. You can see the hoist on the outside of it in some of the photographs, and of course that's you.
Hold on. Right there.
Add either. And I think then the next question is, what do private investigators do, right? And in these times, do they help or hinder? The camp out broadcast, every chance there's purpose watching, seems to me they're hindering, Doug Allen says. And
I agree.
PIs at this point, I would submit that the investigation is still moving at 150 miles an hour. And there are some great private investigators that can be extremely helpful, and it's important to listen to them.
In your opinion, just your opinion, do you believe this investigation is still going fast, lightning speed? Meaning, do you think they have a working theory and the theory is, well, do you think, not the theory, do you think it's this case is producing evidence and they have a direction for this case? Yes or no? Just a yes or a no. I want to see where you guys are at in this. Yes, no, no, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 no, yes, no. Wow, it's about even. Yes, no, no, yes, no, 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 yes, kind of, no, no, yes, but they might have tunnel vision, no, yes-ish, no. It's very interesting. I think it's moving, and I think it's moving good, and I think it's moving quick. But I think the hardest thing is finding Nancy. I think it's that finding Nancy, because I think if they would have had Nancy, if they found her, I think there would have already been an arrest. Could she have spin up? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this is a spit out. I think this is from the nose, and it would still be oxygenated, in my opinion.
While the case is flowing, but then there are others that are just advertising for their businesses. We're going to conduct a search out here and look for this item or that item, and they put it up on Facebook or wherever it's going to go, and the public goes, "Yay, okay," but you never hear anything that came out of it. Okay, and it's like, okay, well, what's going on here?
I would say 80% chance she's within 12 miles. And I think she's probably a lot closer than that, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm a director at the Cold Case Foundation. We have 167 experts from around the world. And we're not putting stuff up on Facebook of what we're doing. And those of you who follow the Cold Case Foundation, I'm just one guy of 167 guys, right? And nobody knew we were involved in the Michael Vaughn case until all of a sudden we were just all over, the news. And I texted the detective the other day. I said, note to self, remind me to sit behind you next time. And she started laughing. Anita, you know who I.
Well, Chris, I mean, some of us might have knew, but some of us might have knew you were on Michael Bond case, but
I'm talking about. And she started cracking up. And the D. Warner case is another example. That's out to jury, so I'm not going to talk about it. But we were involved in that case too. Okay, nobody knew that until it either went to trial or it went to prelim. And these are the kind of things. That's the difference. That's the difference. We're not advertising to say, come look at us, like Bob and John and Gary were talking about. We're trying to help the investigators move into a.
Yeah, you don't show them your cards. You don't show everything, Police aren't. They're not showing. In fact, even when a probable cause comes out, they're only giving you about 1%.
Into a position where they're the tip of the spear. And they are making the decisions, and we are a sounding board of individuals that have done it. And so that's the difference between PIs and
that's a good question, but it is what it is. Did they ever let the company that has solved some unalivings by searching bodies of water get involved? There is not EquiSearch. What is it? What are they called? Cajun Navy. They wanted to get involved, but the sheriff, they would not get involved unless they had the sheriff's blessing. Now, you remember those there's like the Mexican, they're called the Mexican something, women, they have found a lot of people. They just went out and they've been looking, from what I understand. I think Nancy is pretty close to her house, approximately 15 to 30 minutes driving distance, giving that time of the crime. And the daylight not far from that time they left the house. I think that's a good, that's very interesting. If you think about it, I've thought whoever this is, again, if these photos or videos are from 2 different days, this person was obviously planned, premeditated. I wonder, and this is a trigger warning, but it's the truth. It's nothing's glamorous about this genre, right? I wonder if they had something already dug, because it's a very hard thing to dig a grave, particularly if after something has happened like this and you have so much exertion already of committing the crime, trying to clean up certain elements, driving wherever you're having to find a place to put the remains. So in my opinion, these individuals most likely have already thought this out. If the main goal was to unalive her, which whatever happened, it seems like the goal was Nancy and nothing else. Because to me, there's no evidence to suggest anything else, right? Because nothing of value was taken. Nothing of value was taken as far as values in the house that we're aware of. And that's why, like, people who, if it was just we're going in there to grab something, to grab valuables or whatever, this is the thing. They could have easily, like, if they were just going in there to steal things, they could have very easily tied an 84-year-old woman up. They had things in their backpack, in my opinion, rope, bags. Some people call it a KILL kit, right? I wonder if wherever they put her, was it already pre-done? Yeah. Now, and this is the thing, just because it doesn't mean that there's a grave, because a lot of people, and this is interesting as well, many times the relationship that you have with the person, the victim, determines how you will dispose of them as well. If this is someone that you've, I use this term, loved or had emotion toward, you will generally bury them. If it's someone you don't really have emotions toward, but you just want to hide them, many times they won't be buried at all. Right? The reason for this to happen to her is because of the trust of the house and the will. But this is the thing. I mean, I have not seen, the trust or anything. That's the thing. So would looking in canyons and lakes make more sense? It depends. What was sunrise on, hold on, let's go to this. What was sunrise on February 1st, 2026 in Tucson? It was 7:18 a.m. 7:18 a.m. And let's say this happened. Let me pull this. We're going to come straight back to this in a second. Let's look at this frame here. Check this out. Where to go? Okay. Oops, I spelled it wrong, I think. 2 seconds, y'all. I think Nancy Guthrie. I can't even imagine what how they're feeling right now. Okay, so look at this time frame. At 2:28 in the morning, the pacemaker app disconnects from her phone, which means at 2:28 in the morning, okay, Deborah, thank you, baby. Appreciate you. At 2:28 in the morning, meaning Nancy could be still in the house, or it means that, oh, this is interesting. Okay, thank you so much for that, Deborah. We'll go to this right now. Which means at 2:28 in the morning, she was either leaving the neighborhood, meaning, no, they turned the phone off, which means at 2:28 in the morning, she was still at that house. 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30. 5 hours the sun is going to be up. 5 hours. And if you are hiding someone's remains, and particularly if you don't know where you're putting them, and if you're digging something, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy as well. I'm going to go to Brian Anton. Neighbor spots suspicious man near Nancy Guthrie's house, reveals major, what was it?
So you're gonna
Hold on. Reveals major FBI mix-up. Day 37 on the scene. I'm going to go to Brian Anton. Mods, can y'all drop Brian Anton's
hear her describe that story,
link, please?
and really explain that whole story in this episode, but just kind of wanted to give you a preview because this is the first that I'm hearing about that. So I'm going to get into all of it in this episode of Brian Anton Investigates. So I'm joined by Aldine, who is one of Nancy's neighbors, and this is Maple, her dog.
Yep.
And first of all, I just wanted to thank you for letting us park in your driveway when we got moved out. That was very nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What has it been like the last, I guess, 30 plus days?
It's been crazy and sad and, kind of scary for a lot of the people that live around here because, normally this is a quiet, sleepy neighborhood. So we don't have a lot of people here or incidences of anything.
So you knew Nancy?
Yes. So I'd met Nancy numerous times in the neighborhood from just being here. And I also went to high school with her kids. And so a very good friend of mine, super close with Nancy, and we used to walk in the neighborhood, and she would be at parties and things like that. So yes.
She seems like a wonderful woman.
Lovely lady. Yeah. Terribly lovely lady. Yeah.
Did people know that she was Savannah's mom?
I don't know. It was never really talked about. She was just Nancy. So nobody around here really thought anything of it, or at least we never discussed it.
Did you know?
Oh yeah. No, I've known that for, I've known that for a long time. I knew that Nancy lived there. Yeah.
But people on the outside didn't seem to know, really.
Not anybody that I ever talked to about it. No.
Did you know Savannah at all?
I did a bit in high school, but not super well since, high school, because I'm considerably older than, well, not considerably, but I'm about 3 or 4 years older than Savannah. I knew her brother better.
Was there anything strange in the neighborhood you noticed, like before this happened?
I did. About 2 weeks before, it was there. I have a picture window in my back.
Now, about 2 weeks before is a very interesting time. Very interesting time. Why? Because January 11th, they were talking
bathroom, and I see all the people walking by in the mornings, and I noticed this strange guy with his hat down really low. He was kind of hunched over, not in, walking or hiking gear. He was dressed in kind of street clothing. So I thought that was weird because that's not normal.
And it stood out to you?
Oh.
Now, again, why is this man in a neighborhood like that with his hat really low down? That's rather interesting. Is the ground made up of clay or sand? Both.
Oh yeah, I said something, thought that, walking or hiking gear. He was dressed in kind of street clothing. So I thought that was weird because that's not normal.
And it stood out to you?
Oh yeah, I said something to my husband and my mother. So yeah.
And how often has something like that happened where it stood out to you enough to say something?
Not often at all. I see the same people. They're people I know, my friends. Yeah. So no, I think once, maybe 12 years ago, I saw a strange guy.
Did you tell?
So it's been over a decade since she saw a strange guy in her neighborhood. Do they have camera footage of that time? Don't know.
The police?
I did. I told the FBI the day after they came here, and I discussed that with them. So this is my window that I'm getting ready in the morning, and I saw him out there. So I couldn't make out his face, although his hat was way down. And I think I can open up this one too.
Okay.
See?
That's a very strange place to see a strange man. I'm intrigued.
Since we have all this stuff going on.
And you can bet your assets if this, if this is 2 weeks before, then this had to be, if this is related, it would have to be very planned out, which to me gives a big creep factor. Big creep factor.
I haven't, and we have to have it all fixed. So this one is usually open as well. So you've got a pretty good view.
So Nancy's is up that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you've got a pretty good view, and he was walking down the road, and I always see people and I think, oh, that's my friend Nora, or that's this person or that person. And I saw him and I was like, oh, that guy doesn't fit. So.
And this was sometime around January 11th.
Yes.
Boom.
So.
Holy shit. Remember, the FBI and them were asking January 11th, specifically. January 11th. Y'all. Oh my word. I think it was planned, and yes, that makes it a big creep factor. Can they go geofence him? I'm sure that they did, but this is the thing. Now, given most people who are casing out a place prior to a crime happening, they do keep their phones on. But this person may not have. Right? Because if they are that invested and they're wanting to keep their face down and they're not showing their face, I mean, the only reason you don't show your face is because you don't want to be seen. Now, when we're out in the street walking, we go for walks or whatever, we don't care if people see our face. Right? We don't care. There's, nothing to see here. Right? We just kind of walk and go on about our day. But if you're actively trying to keep your face down, that is not good intentions. And the guy was walking, not driving. Where was he coming from? Well, don't know, but he was in the direction of Nancy's place, because her, I guess it would be the right side of your screen is the direction of Nancy's. Yes, guys, please hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. Greatly appreciate it. Or double tap your screen if you're on the mobile. January 6, 2026 is the date of the work permit for the electrical. Yes, it is. I've shown that as well before. Yep, correct, Kim. Correct.
My birthday's January 8th. That's
Okay.
why I remember so well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And describe him again.
Well, he was in kind of street clothes, not shoes that you'd walk in, and he had a baseball hat really low, and he was kind of hunched over, and he was kind of looking around, and he just didn't fit. And he wasn't going terribly quickly like a normal person that's getting exercise. He was kind of going slowly, and when he walked by this street, he really took a long look at it. I noticed that.
And it was enough for you to remember to tell your husband. Yeah.
Yeah. It freaked me out. And I'm not one of those people to be super freaked out by that. But I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, for it to stick out and you to tell your husband or a family member about that, it's giving bizarre, it's giving strange, what date did they actually do the work? Usually they put a permit prior to starting the job. Very good point, Esley. Good point.
Yeah.
What was it like when the FBI came?
You know, they were young and just listening and asking a couple of questions and wanted to know if our Ring camera worked, and it didn't at that time, unfortunately.
Damn.
I don't know.
Damn. And the Ring camera didn't work at that time. Why does this always happen? And you know how she said this guy he had his hat and then he kind of was hunched over? You remember the video when he's walking up on the step here? Kind of makes me, how he's kind of hunched over, he's not wanting to be seen, right? When you're hunched over, your face is down, you're not wanting to be seen as well.
If it would have gotten any of the road, because our house is so set back, so I don't know if we would have been much help, but just questions like that.
It's interesting, like no one's Ring cameras work in this neighborhood, it seems like.
Well, it's such a safe neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like half the time we used to not lock our doors. We do now. Now we have cameras and things like that. But no, yeah, I've never even had a package stolen ever in 23 years. So
it really is one of those, because I heard some people say, oh yeah, it's like one of those places you wouldn't lock your doors, but you really didn't.
yeah, we really didn't. Yeah, we really didn't. I mean, I had 3 teenagers wandering around here, and yeah, I'd come home and the back door would be wide open. I'm like, who's that? So yeah, never a problem. Ever.
Do you, Maple's getting kind of anxious here.
Yeah.
Maple, she's so funny. Do you have any, you always walk her, so we all know her. Do you have any feel, I mean, are people, do they feel like this is an inside job? Or, because there's a sense from some that this is someone maybe even like in the neighborhood.
There's actually at a dinner last night, there was a discussion about it, people that live in this neighborhood, and we're all just throwing things around. Like some people are like, it's for sure a Savannah connection. Some people are like, that guy in the video seemed so lackadaisical that maybe it's a, robbery gone bad. I mean, yeah, I have my theories, but they change because then when you start thinking about stuff, you're like, So I hope we find her and find out.
Are you surprised it's taken this long?
No, because I think someone brought to my attention that a lot of these cases take 30 plus days.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm not surprised. I was not here the night she was taken, but I arrived home the next morning. And then when we found out she was missing, we all went out looking for her. So I thought we would find her, honestly.
Like it was just some kind of not that serious of a situation.
No,
Yeah.
like she had fallen or just something. Yeah.
My doors automatically lock. As soon as they shut, they automatically lock. So I lock my doors every night. I also lock them when hubby is away and I'm alone. I lock my doors. I could never live in a ranch either. Bedroom and baths, all ground level. No.
Were you just out of town that weekend or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Phoenix. I got home on Sunday morning from my daughter Harper lives in Phoenix.
Okay.
So, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Probably not.
That must have been like, what were you thinking when you heard about this?
I was shocked. My elderly mother lives a street away. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is terrifying, and poor Nancy. And yeah, so we just all kind of went out on foot. We all went driving around. I asked the sheriff a few questions and he's like, yep, we already did that. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Your mom lives close?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my sister.
Okay. Are you, I just keep thinking about my mom throughout this whole thing. Like, I think a lot of people are connecting to it because a lot of people have older parents, and you just kind of worry. Maple, come here, Maple. Come on, Maple. Maple, come on.
Come up.
Maple, come on, Maple. Maple, come on.
Come up.
I think a lot of people
she's got the zoomies.
think about their
Mabel's got the
their
zoomies.
parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
you Nancy was 84, and some people are like, oh, why would an 84-year-old woman be living alone? But
my mom's 87 and lives alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to stay in your own home. And
I mean, if you're 84 and you can live alone, good for you. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody wants their independence until they literally can't do it anymore.
Live your life out. And I mean, I was surprised she didn't have an alarm, but again, I'm kind of not too, right? So I don't know.
Do most people have alarms?
I don't know. We do, but I believe so. I mean, the people kind of my age or younger, I believe they do, yes.
And so how many, did the FBI just come here once?
No, they came quite a few times. Yes. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, what's Matt doing?
And what were there different questions?
When they spoke to me, they spoke to Matt a few times too. There was definitely different questions. And then we have friends that kind of live in the back of us. So they would be at our house and then go to the friend's house and say, hey, do you know those people? Are they nice? Do you trust them? And they were like, yeah, they're nice people. So yeah, it was interesting. But the questions were.
That's interesting. Like, saying, do you trust your neighbors and stuff, which I totally get that. It seems like everybody in this area are good middle class, maybe middle to upper class people. Yeah, I see a lot of you saying, your family's 80 plus and all that. Lives alone. Tucson has Safe Alert as well as Amber Alert, but I didn't get a didn't get one, and I've got notifications on. I heard the system had issues recently. When it rains, it pours, doesn't it?
Pretty normal. They did ask me about January 11th.
Yeah.
And that was about the time I saw the strange guy. So that all kind of connected with me.
What was the date? Do you know the date you saw the strange guy?
It was around the 10th, 11th, or 12th for sure.
Now that is interesting, y'all. So I was just thinking, well, maybe the reason they were asking about the 11th was because of her. But it seems like they were asking about the 11th. Then they came to her and she was telling them about this guy. That's very interesting. Listen to how she says that.
They're nice people. So yeah, it was interesting. But the questions were pretty normal. They did ask me about January 11th.
Yeah.
And that was about the time I saw the strange guy. So that all kind of connected with me.
They did ask about January 11th. And then I did tell them about the strange guy. So that kind of all connected for me. Y'all, this had to be, and think about that. Think about someone was planning this at least weeks in advance of doing this to Nancy, and she had no idea. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. I mean, Arizona, Florida, like that's where people retire to because of, the weather and, it makes their body feel better, allergies, whatever. So
what was the date? Do you know the date you saw the strange guy?
It was around the 10th, 11th, or 12th, for sure. Yes.
That's so interesting that it was that same time.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't really know the significance of January 11th, besides they keep asking a lot of the neighbors about it.
Exactly. Maybe Nancy had a stalker. I mean, she could have had a stalker, but see, I don't think this is, to me, this is not a stalker. A stalker is someone that is alone. A stalker doesn't have help. Not that we 100% know that there was more than one person, but the one thing that police, you know, they keep a very tight lip, but they do think that there could potentially be more than one person. And that's something that they have not been really shy about saying. In my opinion, still left-handed, long arms.
I wonder if that first surveillance photo, remember there's the two photos?
Yeah.
That one might be from January 11th.
It could have been, yeah. I mean, that's probably why it's so significant, yeah.
Did they say anything about January 11th? Like, why?
Wait a second. Wait a second. Okay. Wait a second. Think about this. If she saw, first of all, Brian hasn't asked what time of day this was. But let's say this was during the daytime, right? Well, if I would want to know, was this person, you know, the photo without the GUN, was this person wearing something similar as what the person on the camera is wearing? What time was it? Because if this was during the daytime, and let's say the video or the photo without when he doesn't have the backpack and the GUN on, then that means that person had to be there particularly throughout the day on January 11th, or it could have just been in the evening.
Why they were asking you about that?
No, they didn't. I tried to get information out of them. But they wouldn't give me any.
Was there anything else they asked you that was like kind of stood out to you?
No. No, I was kind of more giving them information about the neighborhood, because there's an abandoned house at the end of the street and somebody had just moved out next to us. And I thought that was kind of weird because they had lived there a long time as well. So I think I probably spoke more than I should have.
No. Are there, like, I mean, I don't want to judge anybody, but are there people in the neighborhood that you've been like concerned about in the past, or?
Well, not really. I mean, I kind of know the walkers, and definitely around the holidays, you'll see the people that who are winter visitors and things like that. So no, nobody that I've ever run into that I thought was odd. No.
No one like really creepy or anything.
I don't know. No,
She's not
really,
saying
I don't
no.
know if I.
She's not saying that. Kind of makes me feel a little weird. You know what I mean? Because she's like, not really. You know, she's thought about this. And she.
want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. No.
Not really,
I
no.
don't know if I want to say.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, it's okay. It's
Because
okay.
I don't want them to like.
Yeah.
freak
Well,
out.
and you don't have to give the, I just didn't
Don't
know.
blame you. I mean, I wouldn't
No, I
fit
think-
either.
I think
publicly.
there's a lot of weird people
Yeah.
that live in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
have,
sure.
have people been telling the FBI about that?
Hold on. What did she say?
Yeah.
Freak
Well,
out.
and you don't have to give the, I just didn't know if,
No, I think there's a lot of weird people
Yeah.
that live in this neighborhood.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
have,
sure.
have people been telling the,
Oh, she just said it. She just said it. I think there's a lot of weird people that lives in this neighborhood. But weird doesn't mean, unalive her either. But still.
The FBI about that, you think? Like kind of telling them who they think?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially my neighbor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your neighbor has?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that stood out to them? Or?
Yeah, because he walks his little dogs every day and was telling me actually yesterday about all the different things that he noticed. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because again, I just go back, and I don't have any evidence of this, but like so many of the former FBI agents I've spoken to have just said a lot of times it's someone close.
So scary. Yeah. Yeah. Right? You just never know. I don't know. I was hearing about phone towers being pinged and things like that. And, because in the Kohlberger case, that was a definite thing that was a thing, right? There was a time frame. I don't know. I hope it's not anybody in our neighborhood. That would be scary. It might be, somebody that maybe visits a neighborhood a lot. I don't know. It's really sad, really scary because my kids used to ride their bikes around by themselves and walk down to the neighbors' houses and things like that. So
your kids, did they grow up in this house?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they think about all this?
Well, my son was telling me, he's like, oh, I know that because they used to just play out in the desert. It was kind of like the 70s where the kids would just disperse and be gone half the day and come home to eat.
Right.
So he knows that wash very well that runs parallel to Minna Vista. It's a big canyon down there. Behind Nancy's they would play. I mean, so he said I could help find her.
Yeah, because there's kind of an open area behind Nancy's, I noticed. So I was looking in one of the neighbors' backyards he was showing me, and it's like open desert back there.
Yeah, open desert.
Just kind of in between the houses, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a lot that someone just didn't build on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which has made me wonder, someone could come through the back, probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's probably how they got in. Yeah.
And when you talk about the washes, I'm from Florida. So what are those?
So they're where the water runs. Like you just witnessed a storm. Sorry, Maple. Sorry.
Okay.
So you just witnessed a storm. And so that goes on in July, for an hour, and it floods these river beds that we call washes. And some of them are huge and you'd never know they were there. So there's definite ways to navigate the Catalina foothills through washes.
And a wash is it like a trench?
It's like a big trench.
Okay.
Right, where the water's it's kind of like a river. So they are rivers. They're really dangerous, actually, in July, when the monsoons come and they run. Like you aren't supposed to drive. Some of them go over the road. You're not supposed to drive through it, things like that.
I think she meant it was kind of like the 70s. You know what I mean? Like how she grew up. Yeah, I think she compared it to the 70s. Yeah, because I was going to say, if she had kids in the 70s, she looks absolutely amazing.
So,
she does.
You said there's one near here?
There's actually two. Yeah, big ones that definitely, I saw the searchers in there and I'm like, good, I'm glad they're down in there because.
They're just trenches, right? They are mainly waterless creeks, man-made, until it rains and floods. And then they're full of water.
That would be a place you could, hide.
So, and you could use those to get in and out of the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah. They all connect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that because I went in a tunnel close by? Is that kind of the same system, sort of?
Yeah, it all runs down to the Rito River, which runs parallel to River Road.
Okay.
That big one where you cross the bridge to go get into the city from Campbell Avenue. You'll go over a big bridge. They all rush down into there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, I've always wondered. There's so many people are focused on the road and the camera's facing the road, but what if it was?
Well,
you could probably get around here through the back ways.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I moved here in high school. I know that well.
Do you?
Yes.
You would sneak around?
Oh, yeah, of course. We all did. And we used to ride horses. My girlfriends all had horses, and we used to ride horses up and down Campbell and through the washes, and they'd come pick me up and we'd go on our way. Yeah. So
So you're from Canada.
I'm from
but
Toronto.
You've lived in Tucson for
Yep,
how long?
From Toronto.
You've lived in Tucson for
Yep,
how long?
since 1981.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
in this neighborhood
more
since
than,
1981.
oh my gosh.
Yes.
So that's more than 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just know that because I was born in 85 and I'm 40. So not to, sorry.
I
Yeah.
know, it's okay. I'm like,
You know.
that's painful.
But
sorry.
has this area changed a lot? Like,
No, it hasn't changed at all. Like, other than people kind of updating their houses or building a few. My girlfriend's the one building the house on Escalante at the top. So, no, it hasn't changed at all. I mean, Tucson has, of course, but not the Catalina foothills, not really.
Yeah, I was talking to someone at my hotel last night from Tucson, and she was telling me that like actual Tucson, like downtown and that area has changed a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's a lot more crime, and she said.
Yeah, Tucson's changed. Yeah, but up here, no, until now. Yeah.
So I guess that's why people live up here, to be away from all of the.
Yeah. I've lived up here since then. I mean, after college, I moved to California, then I came back, but still wasn't a long time there.
Have there been any burglaries or anything like that you?
You know, I do know of one, and it was a house that just continually got hit, and it's right on Campbell. And they got robbed, but I think that was about 5 years ago. So it's nothing. I mean, we'd all know because we all kind of know each other. I have friends, 2 streets over, and they would text me or call me and say this happened or that happened, but nothing major. No.
Are you freaked out?
Not really.
You don't seem like you have that personality.
No, really. I'm just not. I'm kind of more like whatever. Yeah, like we'll figure it out. You gotta figure things out.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not freaked out. Although my husband put up cameras and things like that, but
Good.
no.
It is weird to happen right next to you, basically. On this,
I know. And it's funny. Matt, my son, is a golfer at Ole Miss. So for high school, they were gone a lot doing tournaments. So I was here alone a lot, and I did put the alarm on, but I didn't terrify me. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Nancy like? I know you said a little bit, but
she was a super sweet, kind woman. A heart of gold, and just really sweet. From what I remember of her, I hadn't seen her in quite a few years, but I mean, other than in her driveway walking my dog or on her porch or something. But what I remember of the times I did meet her, she was a really kind lady. Yeah.
It's so sad.
So sad. I know, it's devastating.
I hope there'll be like a miracle, but it seems like more and more, it's just hard to imagine she's going to walk back. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
that's what I was hoping for the next day. That's why we all went out and looked for her. We were hoping for a miracle.
Yeah.
And now we're really hoping for a miracle, but.
Have you been, like, what are your thoughts on law enforcement? Because obviously the sheriff has been under a lot of scrutiny.
He's a very controversial character.
Yeah.
I have my opinions about that. I just don't think it was handled properly, but I'm also not a law enforcement person, so I try not to be too critical.
Yeah.
Like her.
But I don't know. I mean,
It seems like the FBI and the locals are working better together now, though.
I hope so.
And even when they've come,
I hope so. I mean, this sheriff, he's been terrible in my opinion. Just literally from jump, it seemed like he just wanted to oust the FBI. And again, I'm very sorry that the sheriff's brother died the next day after Nancy went missing, but that would seem like you would be a lot more welcoming. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Chad. Very kind.
Back to the neighborhood, it just seems more organized now.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
When's the last time they came here? Was it?
Probably, oh my gosh, it's been 30 days, probably 2 weeks. They haven't been back in 2 weeks. I was actually, I received an email and I was expecting them to come back and talk to us, but they haven't.
They emailed you?
No, sorry.
No.
Somebody sent an email from the Catalina Foothills Association. So we have an HOA.
Okay.
And it's not a very active one. I think we pay $50 a year.
Yeah.
But they did email us and tell us, like, it's okay, let everybody in. They did go to my sister's house.
Did they?
Yeah.
And she said she lives right near here too.
She lives right up the street. They went to my sister's house on the second Friday night after.
Now that's interesting because she said that the FBI hasn't been there in a couple weeks. That that is interesting because to me it seems like they got what they needed and they moved on from that. If they felt like they, I think that they have, I really think they have it. They just, A, they don't have Nancy, and B, this is such a high profile case. And with the amount of criticism this has already got from early on, they want to make sure everything is nicely buttoned up, in my opinion. The sheriff needed to go to breathe. Yeah. The things she does with her hand when she sings no is such a Canadian thing, is it? I love my Canadians. Love you guys.
After Nancy went missing at like 7:30 at night. It was raining with hoodies on, black hoodies, and we're tapping on her windows and frantically ringing her doorbell, and she answered it. I don't remember if they asked to come in or if she just offered for them to come in. It was raining and it was cold. And so they went in. I think the male did not take his hoodie off. The female did. They wanted to know if she had a pacemaker, and they wanted to look into her garage. And so she was like, okay. I mean, she was alone and was like, sure, of course, you're the FBI. Apparently on her hoodie was just a little FBI emblem up here.
Is that she's talking about her sister? Is that who she means right here? In my opinion, if my brother passed and there was such a big case, last place he should be is at a sports arena. I agree. I think it was so tacky.
Well, then they left, and
So they were in her house.
They were in her house for like 20 minutes and talking to her, and she was asking questions, and they were kind of vague, and the guy didn't really speak, and he kind of creeped her out. So they left, and my niece called and said, are you sure they were the FBI? Because we all had discussed about copycat crimes, people posing as police officers, things like that. So she called the 1-800-FBI number, and it was busy, or said they were busy. So she called 911, and within 15 minutes, 10 minutes, there were 7 police cars, 4 FBI agents, said it wasn't the FBI. She was terrified. They swabbed her.
What? Are you kidding? Hey, Joe, good to see you. I gotta rewind this just a few. I gotta get this down. Hold on.
To know if she had a paper. She answered it, and we're tapping on her windows with hoodies on. Went missing at like house on the second Friday night after Nancy went missing at like 7:30 at night. It was raining with hoodies on, black hoodies. And we're tapping on her windows and frantically ringing her doorbell, and she answered it.
No, the FBI
I don't
would
remember if they
frantically ring your
asked to
doorbell.
come in or if she just offered for them to come in. It was raining and it was cold. And so they went in. I think the male did not take his hoodie off. The female did. They wanted to know if she had a pacemaker, and they wanted to look into her garage. And so she was like, oh.
Yeah. They wanted to know if she had a pacemaker, and they wanted to look in her garage. Yeah. And make sure they identify as well. And yeah, you absolutely can. If trust me, there is a reason why we get weird feelings when someone is lying to us and we know they're lying or whatever. That is innate within us. Something is wrong.
Okay. okay. I mean, she was alone and was.
But sometimes we still ignore it, you know, because we don't want to be rude or whatever. But who cares if it saves your life or your family or whatever?
It's like, sure, of course, you're the FBI. Apparently on her hoodie was just a little FBI emblem up here. Well, then they left, and
So they were in her house.
They were in her house for like 20 minutes and talking to her, and she was asking questions, and they were kind of vague, and the guy didn't really speak, and he kind of creeped her out. So they left, and
the FBI, they're not going to creep you. They shouldn't be creeping you out. That's for sure.
Niece called and said, are you sure they were the FBI? Because we all had discussed about copycat crimes, people posing as police officers, things like that. So she called the 1-800-FBI number, and it was busy, or said they were busy. So she called 911.
And this is the thing. The FBI is not going to give a damn whether a neighbor has a pacemaker or not. It just keeps getting worse. I know, Tammy. I know. The FBI is not going to give a damn if you have a pacemaker, a defibrillator, anything. It bears no weight on Nancy's being taken. It's very weird.
Within 15 minutes, 10 minutes, there were 7 police cars, 4 FBI agents, said it wasn't the FBI. She was terrified. They swabbed her, fingerprinted the entire house.
So they swabbed her mouth.
They swabbed her mouth.
For DNA, wow.
Yeah, and then were there till the middle of the night, and then just left, and she was.
Wow, they swabbed sister's mouth. What did I tell you guys with when it came to the dailies? Again, like I said, I would be surprised if the FBI was there and there was not something that led them there, right? And one of the questions I posed was, do you guys, well, in my opinion, I'll say, they could have been asking for a DNA warrant. You know. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can give your DNA voluntarily. But she had nothing to hide, you know. I mean, they were just testing it against. What a freaky copycat crime.
Was terrified. So the next day at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she got a call from the large group of FBI agents that were there and said, oh yeah, by the way, that woman was an FBI agent. We don't really know who the guy was, but she was, so you're fine. And she was like, no, I'm not fine. I'd like to know exactly what's her name. Tell me more about it.
You are fucking kidding me. This is like, the fuck, exactly. I don't even know what to say. Exactly, that criminal. I don't even know what to say. So the agents were there, but one of them was an FBI agent, but you don't know who the other one was. And when they showed up blaring and they were there half the fucking night, you couldn't know if one of your agents was there just a little bit prior. And so the next day you call the sister and be like, oh yeah, that was one of our agents, but we don't really know who the other one was. Okay.
In my home, and it's
So why would they have swabbed her and did fingerprints in the whole house?
Because I think in the beginning, the two entities weren't talking to each other properly. I think the FBI and the sheriff's department were not communicating. So eventually she figured out it was an FBI agent.
There you go. There you go. And that just shows, even though Sheriff Doofy said, oh, everything is fine here. We have a great relationship with our partners. Everything is fine. No, apparently.
But the sheriff's department didn't think it was in the beginning. So that's why they went there and swabbed my sister. And yeah, so that was like a huge red flag.
That it was just disorganized. The whole
Totally, right? Wouldn't you think that? And then he was rather dismissive to my sister the next day and said, "Don't worry about it." She's like, "But I have questions," and he was like, "I'm not at liberty to answer them." So.
And they were there for how long again?
They were there for probably 3-4 hours, I believe.
Like processing her house, basically.
Yeah.
For finger.
That's just so unorganized to me, right? Like an FBI agent and some rando with an FBI agent shows up, and then they're there for hours, and you can't figure that out, whether one of your agents were there? It's more than bizarre. It's more than bizarre.
Yeah.
So they thought it was like a fake.
They thought it was a fake FBI invasion, somebody that was casing her. Yeah. So she was terrified. Yeah.
Did she come over here?
She went to her daughter's house. She called me the next day because she knew wouldn't answer my door.
Yeah.
But, she was like, I didn't think you'd come to your door. So she went to my niece's house because she was terrified.
That is, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard they were disorganized in the beginning, but that's really.
Yeah, I think she spent 4.
Disorganized in the beginning. That's an understatement. Why her house? Well, it was raining, and they were ringing. Again, I don't. Why is an FBI agent asking if she had a freaking pacemaker? It makes zero sense. Why do they care if she has a pacemaker? A defibrillator? Why? And they wanted to know about her garage? Could be. That could be part of it.
Nights with my niece, and then had cameras installed and lights installed and things like that. Yeah. So I know.
That's a really crazy story.
It's really sad. I mean, terrified. I mean,
Yeah.
she was terrified, and she's one of those scaredy cat women that was then really terrified. So I felt terrible for her.
Have you heard anything else from any of the other neighbors? Anything that's happened?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've all talked and, compared notes, and I heard the gentleman across the street, their dog woke up in the night. He also told me that their internet went out.
Yep.
And we were going to call to find out about our internet as well, but we haven't yet, which we should, but that's about it. And then the neighbors next on the other side of me moved out. Like I said, I wanted them to check that house because
it's just been empty.
Yeah. So, but other than that, no one else is really talking about it.
And this is just on a different note, but it's interesting when I came in and we were chatting, you were saying this house actually has had something happen before.
Yes, it did. So in 1985-86, there was a big Tucson case. It was called the Primetime Rapist. And he would unfortunately assault women at primetime TV hours, thus his name.
I remember
And one of the women that were assaulted was in this house, which I said to my husband, how weird that it's on the same, juncture that Nancy, or street that Nancy lives on. And
so that happened in your house?
Yeah, it did happen in my house. And I didn't even know that when I bought this house. My mother had to tell me. She's like, you bought one of the primetime rapist houses.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh, super. But yeah.
I remember that.
Crazy.
Wow, what a weird, and like seeing that here and then.
This happens, right? Right. And again, the FBI, CNN, I remember CNN being in Tucson and the FBI being here, and they could not catch the guy. He eventually was caught. Yeah, but that kind of just clicked to me about the disorganization of law enforcement, because that happened in that case as well.
Do you think this will be solved, Nancy's case?
I hope so. Don't you?
Yeah, I think it will.
I do too.
I think it might just take a little while.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy that a person can disappear from a sleepy little neighborhood in the foothills of Tucson, Arizona.
Really appreciate Aldine for taking the time to talk with me. And she's just been so nice throughout this entire thing. She's just awesome. One other thing I wanted to update you guys on, there was this like utility box.
There it is.
At one point, it's really weird. It's not far from Nancy's and you can see all the wires sticking out and something's just strange about it. And at one point, the sheriff's office said that it was part of the investigation, the fact that it was opened and looked like this. Now the sheriff's office is saying this actually has nothing to do with the investigation, that they've looked into it. So
I wonder if they were checking, like plugging something into it to get information, maybe. That looks like underneath my desk. I'm just kidding.
I just kind of wanted to clear that up. And that's really the latest. Appreciate everybody again for following along. I was a little under the weather the last couple of days. That's why I haven't been posting as much. But I'm starting to feel better now. And we'll just continue to look into any new leads and keep.
Brian still looks like he's not feeling good. He's dark under his eyes. That is just wild, guys. That looks like a really old electrical box from the 70s, days before underground cables were installed. That was a great interview. She seems like a very nice woman. I just cannot get over that FBI thing. I really can't. Wait, if I saw best dress. Oh, let's go to Google Earth. I want to look at something. Check this out, because this woman noticed someone the 11th, right? And I don't know exactly which house she lives in, but from her window, right? From her window, she said, she's got to be in, like, I would say one of these houses. One of these houses. She was looking out her bathroom window. So this is Nancy's house right here. Wait a second. Does anyone know the empty house? Which one's the empty house right now? I wonder if she's. Oh, I think he is. Oh, GD. You're gonna be okay, baby. She said she's across the street from the guy who is right behind Nancy's through the bush. She said she was across the street from the guy who was right behind Nancy's through the bush. This one? It's this house that had the cameras, I'm pretty sure. The empty house is 2 houses over from Nancy's. This house is the empty one, I'm pretty sure. Right there. So she's looking out her window around the 11th, and she sees a guy, hat down, looking, and let's see here. It's the big ass cactus. Let's see. So she said behind Nancy's there's like an open area, but I don't really see it. And there's like a big open area here, but I don't really understand. I mean, if they came through the back, I mean, there had to be a vehicle, like, this was taken Valentine's Day 2024. Is there a turnaround behind Nancy's house? So if the person's going to turn around, you know, they could turn around here. There's a lot of places they could turn around. See, you see this neighborhood, like, there is, if you would not come here unless, like, this isn't the most ideal, like, there's so many more convenient places to be or to do something like this. What is that thing? You can't even really. There's an electrical box right there. Wait, let me go like this. Yeah, it's weird. I'm trying to. Nancy's house. I'm pretty sure this is the empty one. I think this is the one with the cameras. Those houses are close together. In reality, they are only acre lots. Yeah, it's not big. I mean, there's, you know, a decent area between here, but very interesting. These are the canals that she's talking. I'm pretty sure. Well, no, is that it? Yeah, these are where she's talking about. Okay, I think this is the area that she was talking about. Pretty sure when she's talking about how they fill up with water, and she said, so it's. Very interesting. A car pulled up to my door, brights on, saying he was police, and my alarm called him. I knew better. Wouldn't open the door. Later, I found out it was police. He had the wrong address. Yeah, follow your instincts. 2121 East. Okay, let me write that down. Here we go. So this is 2125. Pretty sure this is 2121. Right here. Well, they blurred their house. Let's see here. 2121. Let's go to that. That's the empty one? Let me see here. So this is Nancy's. And then this one's empty. $21.21. Oh yeah, you can tell that one's. How long has it been empty, I wonder? Wouldn't surprise me if someone did something and moved right out. That's what you would do. Look at the email about sheriff. Okay. Thank you, darling. With that, I just cannot get over that interview. That's so interesting. Statement. Ooh. Okay. Guys. Got some information on Mr. Daly. Pima County Sheriff's May 6, 2025. This is from Kayla. 2 counts of possession of dangerous rugs, 1 count of possession of narcotics, 1 count possession of rug paraphernalia, committed on the about day of 19th day of March 2025. On 3/19/2025, deputies responded to 2300 West Ina Road, reference a female in a white passenger car that was passed out at the driver's seat. Deputies made contact with the driver, who identified herself verbally as Kayla Noel Day. Deputies saw in plain view rug paraphernalia and asked Kayla to step out of the vehicle, which she did consensually. Once Kayla stepped out, deputies observed her have slurred speech and confusion. Kayla consented to a standard field sobriety test. Once Kayla was placed under arrest, deputies conducted a search of the vehicle due to having seen rug paraphernalia in plain view. While conducting the search, deputies located a large amount of blue 30 M30s stamped pills. Okay. This is for Luke. January 12th, 2026. Defendant present out of custody. The court and counsel confer regarding the motion before the court. There being no objection, and for the reasons stated on the record, it is ordered that the state's motion to continue trial is granted. It is further ordered that the jury trial be set for February 24th, 2026, is reset to May 19th, 2026 at 10:30 a.m. in Division SR. All subpoena shall remain in full force and effect. Mr. Shipley is directed to file a trial acknowledgement. State of Arizona versus Luke Daly. Mr. Daly and a passenger were detained. The keys of the vehicle were in possession. A search of the vehicle located a black magnet box with additional heroin paraphernalias and a baggie with a small amount of brown tar-like substance consistent with heroin on the passenger seat. A black and red duffel bag on the passenger seat held a 9mm AR pistol and a loaded magazine. Question, y'all. What kind of pew-pew was that was on camera with at Nancy's house? Wasn't that a 9mm? Right here. The pew-pew, where we see right here. Does anyone remember? I don't know. Okay. Okay. A black and red duffel bag was on the passenger seat, held a 9mm AR pistol and a loaded magazine. Multiple empty baggies were located in a purse on the passenger floor. The items were positioned in a manner unlikely to have allowed a passenger to sit on top of them. A search of the passenger located a large quantity of round blue M30 pills, 17 Suboxone strips, and a large quantity of U.S. currency. Post Miranda, the passenger advised the firearms belonged to Mr. Daly and stated that he likely put it on the seat after she exited the vehicle post Miranda. Mr. Daly confirmed he had been driving the vehicle and was with the female for approximately 2 days. He advised he had recently been convicted of a felony case, and a record check confirmed that he was prohibited from possessing a firearm. The pills were later weighed, totaling 104.1 grams without packaging. This is equivalent to approximately 1,000 pills, greater than the amount typically possessed for personal use. Based on the investigations, officers determined Mr. Daly and the passenger were likely acting in conjunction to distribute illegal rugs. Officers were conducting surveillance reference an unrelated matter and observed a vehicle driven by Luke Daly in the area. He was identified based off of previous photographs. Indicators of illegal rug transactions were observed. Mr. Daly and the passenger exited the vehicle and entered 7635 North La Chola Boulevard Walmart. Officers approached the vehicle and okay, this is for Kayla. White crystalline substance, black tar substance, needles full of black tar substance similar to the black tar substance, a spoon with burnt residue, and pipes with burnt residue. Wow. 1,000 pills. Hey, Holly. How's everything going, baby? Yeah. Well, I mean, he had 1,000 pills, and the probable cause, and he still, his trial, Klinger, it goes, it was for February, but now it is for May. Very interesting, Sassy. Okay, we got some more. 1 second. Give me a second. I got some. Okay. More stuff here. When was this? Give me a second, guys. This was just, remember, this was less than a year ago. In the Superior Court of Arizona for Kayla, this was filed December 11th, 2025. Oh. So she did a failure to appear. When was it? December 11th, 2025. She didn't show up for her court. Possession of rugs, possession of narcotic rugs, another narcotic rugs, dangerous rugs, possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a felony, possession of a deadly weapon by a prohibited possessor, possession of narcotic rugs, of possession of narcotic rug for sale, possession of paraphernalia. Okay. Defendant was not present in custody, refused transport. What? It is ordered that the hearing set for February 27th at 9 a.m. It is further ordered that the status conference Pima County Sheriff's Department transferred defendant by any means necessary. This was February 27th at 9 a.m. So she was in jail. We know that. 2/18/2026. Just crazy. Her address is less than 2 miles. Yeah. She still has to be in court with the rug charge with Luke. She has to appear, you mean? Let me see here. Interesting. Okay, got something else here. January. Yes. Lucko. I got your email, baby. What was this? Okay. Okay, we'll look at that. How many along am I? Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I guess end it here. Addiction is the same disease. Yeah, listen, addiction can happen to anybody, and no judgment on that, you know. I did a deep dive into Kayla. A lot of people are very suspicious about her, but I mean, she was really in jail. From what wasn't she in jail? You know, Daily, like, I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him right there at all. But she didn't have to be transported. Yeah. In February arrest, she still refused to talk, I believe. So they rescheduled to March. Yeah. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This case just gets weirder and weirder. I could sit and talk about it for hours. There's so many weird things to this case. And it just seemed so unorganized at best. So unorganized in the very beginning. Have FBI agents, or at least half of them FBI agents, that show up to your house. I just can't get over that. And then January 11th is something was going on that day. But again, you got to think about January 11th. January 8th, Nancy was having her electrical done. She is not related in any way, shape, or form to Nancy or any of the Guthries. Yeah. Carlos said that the reason they went to him because his eyes look similar, and that he said that he looked up Nancy Guthrie and where she lived. Well, again, I'm not sure I believe that, because a lot of people looked up Nancy Guthrie and where she lived. I think it had to be more than that. But I also think with Luke and them, I really, it's 2 miles away. I think they'll be back. I think that they'll be back. I'm not saying they had anything to do with it or anything, but there had to be a reason they were there. She's got a piercing artist that wears black gloves too, you know. She's a piercing artist that wears black gloves too, you know. Yeah, Luke said, or in the documents we just read, it said he was with her for 2 days. Carlos said they checked him for residue. Yep. I still wonder if there is a connection between all three. Dealers wear pinky rings. Luke has a piercing under his eye, the exact type Kayla does at her shop. That's a very unique piercing. And to me, that's a very unique piercing for a guy to have right there, especially a straight guy. It's very unique for a guy to have that right there, don't you think? I mean, you can have a piercing wherever you want. It doesn't really matter where your gender or sexual orientation, but it just, to me, it's just an interesting thing for a guy to have something right there. Oh, okay, I got it, Sassy. Let me see here. What's this? Oh, I see that. I'll look into that answer. Sassy. Correct, it's on for guys. Yeah, you just don't normally I think it's, I mean, I like the piercing personally, but to me that would hurt on your, like, your bone is so close right there. I don't know. That RT leg cannot, the right leg cannot be bent. I'm guessing he is smaller than that disguise is showing. It's definitely a dude. Thank you, Kimchi. Thank you, love. All right, guys. Much love, everyone. I'll see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow, or if anything breaks in between. Love you guys. Good night, and God bless.